Our film begins with Natasha Kampusch and her father in a bar. Natasha is still a little girl, about 10 years old. Her father gets drunk and forgets to take his daughter home early for school. Natasha arrives home late and sleeps for a few hours until her mother wakes her up and makes her wear the dress to go to school. Natasha goes to have breakfast with her mother in the kitchen. Her mother tells her that a bar is not a place for children, and if her father brings her late again, this will be the last time she will allow her to go out with him. She gives in to her mother's words, but her mother hits her with a pen on her face. She apologizes for what she did, but Natasha gets angry and leaves the house without breakfast. She goes to school and is on her way to school crying because of what her mother did. Suddenly, a man named Wolf appears, coming from his transport car. He approaches Natasha, knocks her unconscious, and takes her away. He puts her in an underground room, the entrance of which is hidden behind a closet. Above it lies the wooden floor of his house. Natasha wakes up and finds herself in a narrow room with no windows. There is no sunlight, only an air extractor on the wall, a sink, and a bathroom seat. He enters, wraps Natasha in a blanket, and gives her a small mattress to sleep on. He brings her food and water, then leaves without saying a word, locking the door behind him. Natasha tries to open the door, but it is tightly locked. She screams, hoping someone might hear, but the room is underground. On the third day, Wolf brings her biscuits, which she loves, and talks to her for a while before leaving her again. The news of Natasha's kidnapping is all over the media. Her mother watches it at home, and each day she cleans and cooks for Wolf. She hears about the kidnapping and wonders how Wolf could do such a thing. Wolf pretends to have no idea, acting as if the kidnapper must be insane. One day he tells Natasha that her family doesn't care about her and that they would have paid the ransom if they truly did. He says that she isn't important to them. He gets angry when he hears her crying, then chokes her and drowns her in the bathtub, telling her to stop crying. He orders her to clean up the water on the floor and locks her in again. One day, Wolf is sitting in the garden with his mother when the police arrive to question him about Natasha's kidnapping. They find nothing suspicious, especially after seeing Wolf's family at his home. The next day, Natasha, still dreaming of her family and longing for them, is woken up by Wolf. She asks for an hour to count the days she's been kidnapped. Wolf agrees, but only if she behaves well. He sets up a phone in the room for communication between them, and wonders if Natasha feels as lonely as he does. He struggles to answer her question and thinks about it, but days continue to pass. By the 183rd day, Natasha has created a small world inside the room, playing by herself and drawing pictures on the walls. Wolf talks to her about her chores, asking if she's brushed her teeth and cleaned her dishes. He continually reminds her of his control over her. The next day, Natasha pretends to have a skin disease and asks Wolf to take her to a doctor. When Wolf realizes the trick, he punishes her, showing how mentally disturbed he is. He violently carries her back to the room, telling her to scream as much as she wants, but no one will hear her. After 4 days of starvation, Natasha pleads with him to bring her food, but Wolf refuses. He tells her to stop asking and listen to him. 4 years pass, and the situation remains the same. Wolf continues to deny her food for days, while Natasha becomes thinner and weaker from lack of nutrition. She longs for sunlight, having been deprived of it for years. She fears the possibility of dying if she tries to escape. One day, Wolf finally lets her outside with the pigeons, and Natasha feels the sunlight for the first time in 4 years. One day, Wolf's mother notices a single blonde hair on his clothes, and she begins to suspect that her son has taken a lover. She grows obsessed with the idea. Later, Wolf shaves his head completely. 5 years after Natasha's kidnapping, she spends Christmas alone, decorating her room with a Christmas tree to create a small sense of joy. A man enters wearing a suit and holding a video camera. He gives Natasha gifts, a music player and 3 books of famous novels. Natasha asks to call her family, but Wolf gets angry and tells her to forget about them, that they are dead to her. After months, Wolf decides to let Natasha sleep with him in the room. He gently pats her hand to ensure she doesn't attempt to escape. While they are sleeping, Wolf leaves to go ice skating. Natasha asks if she can join him, promising to behave better. Wolf locks the door behind her as she goes back to her room. Upon his return, he attends a party but struggles to interact with others due to his mental illness. He eventually returns home, where he rapes Natasha in his bed. Natasha, submissive and resigned, knows she has no power to stop him. Afterward, she asks Wolf if they can go to the garden at night, and he reluctantly agrees, though he worries about anyone seeing them. He takes her back to her room, but when she refuses to comply, he forcibly drags her back inside and locks the door. 5.5 years pass since Natasha's kidnapping, and Wolf begins to enslave her further. He forces her to do housework, constantly berates her, and calls her a stupid dog. He also withholds food, eating in front of her and making her go hungry for days. One time, when Natasha takes a bite of his food, he violently grabs her, pulls the food from her mouth, and locks her in her room without allowing her to eat. After months, Wolf decides to take Natasha out with him. He buys her new clothes and warns her that if she tries to escape, he will kill her with the gun he possesses. They go to a store to pick a paint color for her room. Wolf leaves her alone, but while he is gone, Natasha takes the opportunity to escape. She hears his voice and realizes she needs to act quickly, but she is soon caught and dragged back to the house. Over the following months, Wolf renovates the room where Natasha is held. She is forced to work on it herself. One day, Natasha hears on the radio that she may be dead or suffering from depression, but she remains in captivity. She asks Wolf why he chose her, and he admits that he kidnapped her because of the smile he saw on her face years ago in a store when she was eating biscuits. He had been digging and building her underground room for 8 months before he took her. After enduring this life, Natasha becomes so desperate that she attempts suicide by burning tissues to suffocate herself. But her survival instinct takes over. She extinguishes the flames and hides the evidence of her attempt. Wolf discovers what she tried to do and beats her severely, instilling fear in her. Natasha starts counting the blows she receives and records them on tissues, which she keeps as painful memories. Months later, Wolf takes Natasha on a skiing trip. Her body is too weak to ski and she keeps falling. When she asks to go to the bathroom, Wolf ensures no one is around. Inside the bathroom, Natasha meets a girl who speaks Russian. She tries to tell the girl that she is Natasha Kampush, kidnapped 8 years ago, but the girl doesn't understand. Wolf, noticing her interaction, demands to know what she said, then slaps her hard across the face. He continues to beat her, accusing her of lying. On Natasha's 18th birthday, Wolf celebrates by bringing her a dress and forcing her to dance with him, even though her body remains frail. The next day, Wolf decides to sell his car for money, and Natasha cleans it inside and out. While cleaning, she ruins the birthday dress Wolf gave her. He answers a phone call and leaves the house, leaving Natasha alone. Seeing that the garden door is open, she takes the chance to escape. With fear but determination, she runs to the house of a stranger, explains that she has been kidnapped, and is taken to the police. Natasha finally tells them her identity. She is Natasha Kampush, the girl who had been missing for 8 years. News of her escape reaches her mother, and they reunite after 3,090